Today we're making a belt. So a new belt is kind of where my leather work journey started. I was looking for a brand new belt, something high quality, like good leather, but I did not want to pay $100–150 for a really nice belt. So instead what I did is I ended up spending thousands of dollars on leatherworking equipment and spending countless hours learning how to leatherwork, only to actually never make a belt. I shouldn't say that. I've made a couple belts as gifts for my old man. I've given him a black one for his birthday and a brown one for Father's Day, but I've actually never made my own belt. I wear somebody else's belt. Yeah, after all of that over a belt, I ended up buying somebody else's $100 belt anyway. But a belt is one of those items that is definitely beginner friendly. It will always sell, and yeah, they don't take very long to make at all. They're kind of the perfect product. So today what I've made is I wanted a natural veg tan belt. I think these are really cool. They start looking like this, but over time they gain a natural patina and they start to turn brown as they age and, you know, get used. And so I thought it would be cool to document me making this belt, and then down the line maybe I'll post an update on the patina on this thing, what it looks like. So you want to start with a fairly heavy leather. I'm not sure the exact ounce of this leather, but it's pretty heavy. You obviously want this to be rugged and last a long time, and thinner leather is just not going to be as rugged. It's going to stretch out over time. This will still stretch out too, but the thinner you go with the leather, the more stretch it's going to have to it. For this belt video, I am going to make an 1.5 inch thick belt. I have a belt buckle, as well as I am using Chicago screws to hold everything together here. You don't have to use Chicago screws. The belts that I've made, I've actually stitched into this point, but I really like the look of the Chicago screw. Never really used ones, so I bought some off of Amazon for this build. I will link the belt buckle that I used and the Chicago screws down below. You can go pick them up. They're pretty cheap. I think the belt buckle was like $10. Chicago screws, probably the same amount, and you get a whole box of them. With all that said, let's jump right into the build of this belt. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is get our strap cut. And from your hide, you just wanna go with your knife and a ruler just to make sure that first edge is straight before you go with the strap cutter, or you're gonna have a wonky strap. And here, I'm just cutting the rounded edge of the strap. This is kind of optional, as it's gonna be hidden behind the buckle, but I just like to have it nice and curved on that edge. I think it looks better than a flat one. Now I'm gonna take my hole puncher, and I'm just gonna punch the holes for the buckle. So that's gonna be the long slot where the, I don't know, tooth of the buckle comes through, as well as the holes for the Chicago screw. And I get a lot of questions about this hole puncher. This is one of my favorite tools that I own. It comes from Hand and Sew Leather, and I'll leave a link down in the description for it. And here I'm just cutting the shape for the end of the belt. You can really cut any kind of design you like in here, or just leave it flat. I like to just go with this weird little flag end. And here I'm going to do a quick sand in the machine, followed by a bevel. And you're about to see it here, but this is probably the best way I found to bevel a belt. I clamp a block of wood to my bench, and then I just pull the belt through the beveler, and this is so much easier. And now a quick burnish on the machine. And this is where it all goes to hell. You're about to see it in a second here. You're gonna see my failure and rage quit firsthand. Damn it. Alright, a couple days later, and I figured I'd give this another go. So I repeat all the steps that I've already shown you, and then we'll get to work on a new belt. So on the first belt, I actually wasn't too content with the edge that I had, So for this second attempt, I went with a hand sanding down to 800 grit, and then I burnished by hand using a little cloth bag. And now I'm just cutting out the little belt loop. I honestly didn't measure this thing. I just kind of eyeballed it and it seemed to work out. And I gave this little thing a quick sand and burnish as well. Kind of optional, but I just feel like it's a nice finish for it. And here I'm just gonna punch out a few holes so I can stitch the thing together. Again, I pretty much eyeballed this. It's not too exact, but it's all gonna be hidden behind the belt anyway. And now we're gonna get some string ready, just like you're gonna saddle stitch. Except this time we're not saddle stitching, we're going to butt the ends of it together. And I'm actually gonna do a cross stitch. And I always found when you're doing the cross stitch or like a baseball stitch or something, the first stitch to get the thing together is always kind of a pain in the ass. And this one proved to be no different. But once I was going, came together easy. You just really want to make sure that you're pulling all the slack out of the string so that it is butted completely together like that, nice and tight. Then I'm going to cut the strings and burn them down. What I didn't show in the video is that I actually knotted it before I melted the string, just to kind of secure it a little better. And now we start assembling, so slide the belt loop on first, then we're going to put the buckle through and fold the tab over top of that. And once your holes are lined up, we're just going to put the Chicago screws through each hole and we're going to screw them together. Once you have the first screw in, you're going to slide the belt loop up, and then you're going to put the second Chicago screw in. The belt loop should be secured between the two Chicago screws so it doesn't slide around on you. Now we're going to punch the holes for the belt. I find the easiest way to do this is to take a belt that fits me, and what I do is take the belt hole that I use the most, and I mark it, and then I mark 2 holes in front and 2 holes behind it at 1-inch increments, and that seems to be great for any belt that I make. Yeah, and that's all there is to it. Pretty straightforward. Like I said, really beginner friendly, but this is a product that will always sell. Doesn't take a huge time commitment to make one of these things, like maybe an hour, probably less if you get really good at making these. Have some tools, maybe if you had like a belt clamp to help sand it out and burnish it and that kind of stuff. Again, the link for the belt buckle and for the Chicago screws down in the description below. The link for the template for the hole placement will also be in the description, as well as links to all the tools that I use. You can pick them up if you want. I really stand by all the tools that I use. They're very intentionally selected. I love my leatherworking tools, so go take a look. If you got a few extra bucks, pick some of those up. But that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.